basically you want a sauna company to give you $8,000 to $10,000 sauna for $1,500. I don't see any issue with the wood quality, both inside and out. But overall, that's my thoughts on it. It works almost as good as... Earlier this week, you saw me unbox this Dynamic Gracia 1 to 2 person sauna. You also saw some cell phone footage from the first time that I used it. Let's turn this bad boy on for the first time. I'm gonna do my first session. Now that I've seen and used the LifePro, this is extremely similar to the LifePro on the inside. In fact, it has, other than not having the capped off heaters on the top, I mean, you can kind of see the same like mesh type material or whatever. The LifePro though, had a little bit better, like, I don't know if this is quality control or shipping damage or whatever you call it, but the LifePro seemed to have, I don't know, just the outside had a different finish. The design of it was just slightly different. There's also, one of the things that I liked about the LifePro, getting ready to turn it on for today, or getting ready to turn this Costco Dynamic Sauna on for the day, is the LifePro has the controller on the front wall. So there's a controller on the outside and the inside. Not a huge deal. Some people complain about that. I don't think it's a huge deal, but I do like walking up to the front of it, not having to open the door and get inside to turn it on for the preheat. Now I'm sweating. It's not an extreme river sweat just yet, but I'm definitely sweating. Got sweat on my forehead, starting to definitely drip down my back. We did like a quick little EMF test. We've got the full review video now, and you'll see the pros and cons of each, portion of the way that we evaluate the saunas. I've had it for a little while. I took a week break, and then also used a couple other saunas that I have to compare, because that's a great way to know, like, where's the bearing of your opinion on this thing and how does it compare to other things. Overall, it's not that bad. I got this one on a sale. I thought it was the price that everyone could get, but I guess it's what they call a limited quantity sale. So they'll do a flash sale for like $400 off or something like that. But then once they sell out of whatever inventory they have, it goes back to the regular price. So this was a $1,700 or $1,800 sauna. It's basically a sub $2,000 category for me. I think right now you can get it for $1,900 or $2,100, something like that.
Pretty good. Okay.
Yeah, it's not bad. I think the build quality is improved. I didn't have a huge issue with the build quality of the one I had 6 years ago. I think they've done some refinements on this thing. I think it's in line with everything else in this price category. I think it's high enough quality for you to get a few years use out of it without issue. I don't know about the components that are in it though. Like the heaters feel very small and flimsy to me. We didn't take it apart. I mean, we're not trying to really rail on these guys or anything. We also know that the manufacturer's, between a rock and a hard place too. Everyone wants $10,000 sauna performance for under $2,000. The manufacturer has just as much difficulty trying to deliver something like that in accordance with the parameters set by the big box stores that are going to buy all the inventory. And the reason that I bring this up is because I recognize that the manufacturer that builds this sauna, they actually build white label saunas for over 20 other sauna brands, right? And so I've seen the technology that they deploy in those units. I know that they have the capability to build higher quality units. And I've also kind of recognized that just because this unit isn't perfect doesn't mean that the manufacturer is not capable of making something much better. The problem is that they're trying to deliver an affordable product while maintaining a decent quality standard, but it also has to be light enough to where the shipping isn't too expensive. It has to be cheap enough to where the big box stores will still operate within their set parameters and order enough quantity to even make it make sense. And then ship it across the world and deliver it to you and maintain all that, which is quite honestly really difficult to do. So for the first time ever, I'm kind of feeling for the manufacturer here, because I get the pressure from all of you guys, the subscribers and the customers and the people that are out there in the world buying these things, and I know what you want because I've listened to you over and over and over. And basically you want a sauna company to give you, an $8,000 to $10,000 sauna for $1,500, and it just doesn't exist, and they can't possibly do that. And so while there's things that I don't like about this sauna and would, be negative as far as my review of it, I also am am aware, we come from that viewpoint usually thinking that there's a better option on the market, or thinking that some other company is going to be able to give us something that this one won't, or there's a better value or whatever. And what I've realized this year is that all those companies in a sub $2,000 price point category are in the same boat. It's akin to buying a car, right? Do you want reliability and long-term longevity? What is it? It's a Honda or a Toyota. End of story. Are you gonna have to pay for it? A little bit. It's not gonna have the luxury of an Acura or a Lexus, but it also doesn't have the build quality of the Kia or Hyundai, right? Nothing wrong with Kia or Hyundai. It's just, you have people that will say, oh, well, in the past couple of years, the Kia has really greatly, dramatically improved their, the quality of their cars, or this, that, and the other. Okay, I hear you, but is it ever going to be the reliability of a Honda? No.
Let's focus on the three main things that people are actually wanting to see out of this sauna.
Okay.
What's the build quality like? How is it put together? How is that experience? And then, does it freaking work?
Build quality is pretty good. Aside from a couple of little slats on the heaters and things like that being broken, I think it was just damaged in shipping. The roof piece, being misaligned, or some trim miter cuts, or missing a brad nail here or there. The slats don't line up on the heater guards. You've got, things that aren't trimmed off the top. You have things that are broken in shipping. You've got this, you've got that. I'm assuming that you guys have this perspective that the build quality in this price range isn't perfect. This stuff doesn't bother me. It doesn't affect the performance or the function of the sauna. I think it's fine. I think it's in line. The sauna works fine. The door closes great. There was no issue with the hinges. I don't see any issue with the wood quality, both inside and out. There was no adhesives or anything inside like in some of the other saunas. There's varnish on the outside, not on the inside. So VOC wise, it gets a check mark for me. I didn't see any issue with that. I don't notice any smells. Nothing crazy on the VOC test. Yeah, I think the build quality is fine. Just don't expect it to be, perfect. If these things not being lined up bother you, obviously this is probably not something for you. Or like in the other videos, we talk about the control panel and stuff like that. If you're going to complain about those things, any not just this one, but any product in this price range you're probably not going to be satisfied with. Putting it together was fine. If I had to do over again, I don't think I would be as frustrated. And I also don't think that I would have that negative connotation in my mind from how much these people have been assholes to me. So I think assembling it is fine. I think you need an assembly video because it goes together in reverse compared to what I'm used to. Generally, you put this thing together back wall first and to the front. So when you put it up against a wall, you can start with the pieces that go in the back. But this actually has a floating floor. Generally in a sauna, the walls sit on top of the floor. So when you put it together a foot away from the wall, you can slide the whole thing back into its final resting place. This is very difficult to do that with because the floor floats in the middle and the walls sit directly on the ground. The way that the side walls attach to the front wall, you really have to start with the front wall, put the side walls on, and then the back wall. I hate buckles. If you watch any of my sauna reviews, I hate them even more in this sauna because you have to leave space for your body to get back there to latch the buckles, right? Well, the only way to do that is to position it a foot or two off the wall. Then you have the floating floor. When you go to slide it, the damn thing wants to kind of get all cattywampus on you. The walls come out of square, and there's nothing that you can actually, if you put furniture sliders underneath this thing, it has to be on the corners. It can't actually be under the floor because the floor floats independently of the walls. So I found that to be, that's just a pet peeve of mine. Would you notice it if you hadn't done this before? Probably not. Every other sauna company does it the opposite way. This is the first one that I've ever seen that's like this. So, I was a little peeved by that, but that's probably just me based on my user experience.
So out of 10, build quality and assembly, what are we giving it?
Build quality, I would give it like a 6, 7. I think in this case, you would have to separate build quality from fit and finish.
Yes.
When I think of build quality, I think of, can I grab a hold of this thing and actually I almost ripped the... Is it super cheap? Like I feel like I can put my elbow through it like a J&H or something that's just like paper thin. I think build quality is fine. 6, 6.5. I don't see any issues with this. I don't see it breaking. I think 250 pounds in here, no big deal. Fit and finish is a different story. I don't know if it's shipping damage or rushed at the factory or whatever, but I mean, we do have trim pieces. I probably give it a 4 out of 10 for fit and finish, maybe 4.5 to 5. The fit and finish issues that I do see are just taking an extra 30 seconds to reposition that miter saw or that cut, or like these. There's no reason why these shouldn't line up, right? It's not a build quality issue. It doesn't affect the performance of the sauna at all, right? Same thing with the control panel. When it's sloppy and slides around like that, that's an easy fix. Assembly, I gotta give it to him, man. The assembly's not that bad. I think I had a bad taste in my mouth the day that we did it. I'd probably give it a 6, 6.5, 7 out of 10.
The last two things are EMF testing, and then the question that we all want to know and that we've been waiting for is, do you recommend this sauna and how does it perform? So let's start with EMF.
Doesn't pass the EMF test as far as like being on the certified sauna list, but none of them in this price range do. So I don't know if I can really fault them for that. Background obviously in the room is 0.2 or less than 0.5. Magnetic fields seem to be much improved. There's still some levels in here. I mean, if you want to be really picky and jam it up against the backrest, you can get 3 or 4 milligauss. But I mean, if you come out a little bit, it's still 2, 3. It's not that bad. I don't think all the heaters are the same. I think there's wiring and stuff. Not even going inside of this thing. The electric fields are pretty ridiculous. I don't know how anyone can get upset or even believe that this is a low EMF sauna. You know, EMF stands for multiple things, but I don't know what the deal is with these. They're obviously not shielded on electric fields. Average is 300-400 milligauss. You can also see the heater quality, the actual emitter, is very thin. They kind of are the foldy carbon type. So they're not higher end. I wouldn't expect them to have the complete EMF mitigation. I don't see any issue with the wiring. The connectors were good. Magnetic fields looked way, way, way better than 6 years ago. We used to have, you can see it in my screenshots, I used to be up against the backrest holding the meter in front of my face in the middle, and we had 70 milligauss. So magnetic fields greatly improved in here. All the folks in the Facebook group that were showing me low EMF readings on this, I'm not really sure. My perspective is that they are just talking themselves into believing that it's one way because that's what they want it to be. But the electric fields in here are pretty high. In some places, they're off the meter, which is 1,000 volts per meter. In the seated body position, you're anywhere from like 300 to 600. Milligauss was relatively low, under 1 milligauss in some places. Hotspot at the backrest, anywhere from 3 to 6 milligauss. I didn't see that big of an issue with those. I think it's much improved over the others. But you check this thing on a body voltage meter, the electric fields are off the charts. So it's definitely not low EMF. It's low magnetic, but electric field's pretty damn high. I would give them a higher rating than I would want to because I like that they improved them over 6 years ago. So if you're missing 50% of the EMF, it would be a 5 out of 10. But I'd throw them an extra point or two for the improvements. I like it when companies, make improvements. I'd give it like a 6. Yeah, 5.5 to 6.
I think this is probably the most important thing to people because a lot of people don't care about EMF and a lot of people don't care about build quality and a lot of people don't care about a lot of this stuff. They just want to sweat. Mm-hmm. What's your rating and what's your your impression of how does this thing work and did you actually sweat when you used it?
Yeah, first off, I like what you just said there. If you don't care about those things, buy it. Just don't whine about it. If you don't care about those things and you'd be happy with this, absolutely buy it. It's better than having no sauna. Final rating, I don't know. You've been there. I'd probably give it 6, 6.5 out of 10 overall. I think it's definitely worth buying. I think it's better than having no sauna. The thing that stops me from making it like a 7, 7.5 is that when I use it, my feet are cold. And see how the heaters don't go all the way to the floor. There's also no heaters in the floor. So you have the bench here, you have this giant section that's cold. You just don't have any heat coverage. I mean, you can see the tops of my legs and stuff were wet, but my feet are totally dry. There's nothing, I don't know how to get it to focus, but the bottom half of my leg, this is basically from here down, it's cool. And my feet are totally dry. I'm not sweating. Figured out exactly what that is. I might actually make a course that shows people how to modify their sauna in cold temperatures. And that would also be applicable to the cheaper saunas like your Amazon, your Wayfair, your Costco sauna. So you get a decent sweat on the torso from the legs up, but you're not getting any frontal infrared coverage here. This doesn't extend all the way to the floor. So basically from the ankle down, your feet are cold and dry, which is a little unusual. Usually the floor heaters will take care of that, or the leg heaters on the sidewalls that go all the way to the floor will take care of that. But then the group members alerted me to this, and thank you very much, to the discrepancies of the different models. So some of them don't have these heaters right here. They're just not there. They have a heater in the floor instead, and they have these shoulder heaters, but they don't have the leg heaters here. And they say that they get better results in those models. And I can't make heads or tails out of, they call this a 1 to 2 person model. They had another 2 person at Costco that was identical to this. It's just, was it a foot wider? It's a little bit wider. But, take that for what you will as far as the differences in the models. All I can tell you is that in this, not bad. I just need a little bit more heat in the lower extremities. If this is something that you own, I'm going to show you how to get it. We're going to modify this thing in an upcoming series. And I don't want to leave you high and dry just because this is what you can afford or this is the best option for you. And I think you'll really enjoy the modifications that we have to show you. But overall, that's my thoughts on it. It works almost as good as the other 1 person for $1,700 that we tested last month. I think that one works a little bit better in colder temperatures because, again, it has heaters that go all the way to the floor. It's got heaters in the floor. It has the sidewall heaters. It has all the heaters. Just the EMF in that one was a little higher than this one. If you have any more questions about this sauna, or you want to request, future videos or something like that, or you're interested in modifying the saunas to make them heat up better or add heat coverage where it's lacking in some of these models, we have our resources down in the description, or you can let me know in the comments below to request, a future video for next month. And it's been fun. I've enjoyed it. We'll see you in the next one.